The American dining landscape is filled with ghosts of once mighty empires. Drive through any suburb and you'll see the faded signs and empty buildings where iconic chains once thrived. These weren't fleeting fads, they were institutions that defined family dinners, first dates, and weekend traditions for generations. But what's happening now isn't a normal business cycle. It's a systematic collapse of brands that once seemed invincible. Chains that weathered recessions and shifting tastes are now closing faster than they can adapt. Rising labor costs, supply chain chaos, and changing consumer habits have created a perfect storm that's reshaping the industry in real time. And the most heartbreaking part? The victims aren't newcomers, they're the legends. The very brands that built their reputations on quality, consistency, and value are now watching those foundations crumble. Today, we're uncovering 5 fast food chains that may not survive the next chapter of American dining. Number 5. Dairy Queen. There was a time when spotting those red letters against a white background meant summer had officially arrived. Dairy Queen wasn't just another fast food chain, it was a seasonal ritual woven into the fabric of American childhood. The blizzard that defied gravity when flipped upside down, soft serve cones that required careful engineering to prevent catastrophic collapses, and Sundays that made ordinary Tuesday afternoons feel special. But nostalgia alone cannot sustain a business model built on products that have become increasingly expensive to produce and difficult to profit from. The ice cream industry has transformed dramatically over the past decade, with artisanal shops offering premium experiences and grocery stores providing convenient alternatives that cost half as much as restaurant purchases. Dairy Queen's core challenge lies in its fundamental identity crisis. The chain never successfully decided whether it wanted to be a dessert destination or a full-service restaurant. Menu expansions into burgers, chicken strips, and hot dogs diluted the brand without creating compelling reasons for customers to visit more frequently. The result was confused messaging that satisfied neither ice cream enthusiasts nor families seeking complete meals have proven strategies. Location particularly problematic as suburban sprawl patterns have changed dramatically. Many Dairy Queen restaurants occupy aging strip mall spaces with limited parking and poor visibility from major traffic routes. The drive-through experiences that work well for traditional fast food become awkward when customers need time to examine complicated ice cream menus and make decisions about toppings and sizes. Seasonal fluctuations that were once manageable have become devastating in an industry where rent, labor, and supply costs continue rising regardless of weather patterns. Summer sales spikes no longer generate sufficient revenue to offset winter slowdowns, especially in northern markets where locations remain closed for months at a time. Franchise relationships have deteriorated as corporate requirements for equipment, upgrades, and menu implementations strain operators already struggling with thin profit margins. Many longtime franchisees describe feeling abandoned by corporate leadership that seems disconnected from ground-level operational realities. The competition landscape has evolved beyond recognition, while Dairy Queen has remained largely static. Fast casual chains offer premium ice cream experiences with better ingredients and more sophisticated flavor profiles. Convenience stores have upgraded their soft serve programs to compete directly with traditional ice cream shops. Even McDonald's has improved its dessert offerings to capture market share that once belonged exclusively to specialized chains. Digital ordering platforms have exposed additional operational weaknesses. Ice cream products that require immediate consumption don't translate well to delivery services, while mobile apps struggle to convey the tactile experience of choosing toppings and watching preparation techniques that make ice cream purchases memorable. Number 4. Pizza Hut. The red roof restaurants that once anchored strip malls across America represented more than just pizza. They embodied a specific vision of family dining where parents could afford to treat their children to restaurant experiences without breaking weekly budgets. The salad bars, arcade games, and booths with red checkered tablecloths created environments where ordinary evenings became special occasions. Pizza Hut's decline began when the company abandoned its dine-in identity in favor of delivery and carry-out models that played to competitors' strengths rather than leveraging its own advantages. The chain spent decades building locations designed for sit-down experiences, then systematically eliminated the service elements that justified the real estate investments. The pizza quality that once set Pizza Hut apart from competitors has suffered from cost-cutting measures that prioritized consistency over taste. The pan pizza that built the brand's reputation now arrives with less cheese, thinner crusts, and sauce formulations that taste generic compared to the distinctive flavors that created customer loyalty. Menu complexity has reached absurd levels with dozens of crust options, sauce varieties, and topping combinations that overwhelm customers and slow preparation times. The simplicity that made pizza appealing has been sacrificed for the illusion of choice, creating operational nightmares for staff and decision fatigue for customers. Delivery service quality has declined as the company has struggled to compete with third-party platforms while maintaining its own driver networks. Orders frequently arrive late, cold, or incorrect, while customer service representatives seem powerless to provide meaningful solutions or compensation for service failures. The franchise system that once drove Pizza Hut's expansion has become a liability as many operators struggle to maintain profitability, with aging equipment, outdated store designs, and corporate requirements that don't align with local market realities. Store closures have accelerated as leases expire and franchisees choose not to renew agreements that no longer generate adequate returns. Marketing strategies have failed to resonate with contemporary consumers who associate Pizza Hut with outdated dining concepts rather than innovative food experiences. Promotional campaigns that emphasize low prices reinforce perceptions of inferior quality while failing to communicate any compelling reasons to choose Pizza Hut over more convenient or higher quality alternatives. The competitive environment has evolved dramatically while Pizza Hut has remained largely unchanged. Domino's transformed itself into a technology company that happens to sell pizza. Papa John's emphasized ingredient quality despite its own subsequent problems. Local and regional chains have captured market share by offering better products at competitive prices. Corporate ownership changes have created strategic confusion as different management teams have pursued conflicting visions without successfully implementing any of them. The result is a brand that stands for everything and nothing, appealing to no specific customer segment while failing to excel in any particular category. Real estate decisions made decades ago now represent massive financial burdens as the company maintains expensive locations designed for dine-in experiences that no longer generate sufficient revenue to justify the overhead costs. The red roof buildings that once symbolized success have become anchors, dragging down profitability and limiting strategic flexibility. Number 3, Steak and Shake. The black and white checkered floors, red vinyl stools, and the promise of handcrafted burgers made fresh to order represented something special in the fast food landscape. This wasn't another assembly line operation, churning out pre-made patties. Steak and Shake built its reputation on the theatrical experience of watching cooks smash fresh beef on the grill, while milkshakes were hand-dipped using real ice cream. But that commitment to made-to-order quality became the chain's greatest liability in an industry that increasingly rewards speed over substance. The very processes that made Steak and Shake distinctive also made it impossibly slow compared to competitors who perfected assembly line efficiency. Wait times that stretched beyond 20 minutes for basic orders drove away customers who expected fast food to actually be fast. The franchise conversion strategy that was supposed to save the chain instead accelerated its collapse. Corporate leadership pursued an aggressive plan to convert company-owned locations to franchise operations, believing this would reduce overhead while maintaining brand standards. Instead, it created a patchwork of inconsistently operated restaurants, where service quality and food preparation varied dramatically between locations. Franchise agreements that promised low startup costs attracted operators who lacked the experience or capital necessary to run successful restaurants. Many new franchisees discovered that the economics of handcrafted food preparation didn't align with the profit margins required to sustain viable businesses. The result was a cascade of closures as inexperienced operators failed to generate sufficient revenue to cover basic operating expenses. The dining room experience that once differentiated Steak and Shake from typical fast food establishments became a burden rather than an asset. Maintaining full-service restaurant environments with table service and extensive cleaning requirements proved incompatible with fast food pricing structures. Customers expected restaurant-quality experiences but weren't willing to pay restaurant prices for burgers and shakes. Menu pricing strategies created additional customer confusion and frustration. The same items cost different amounts depending on whether customers ordered during promotional periods, used mobile apps, or visited during specific hours. Complex pricing tiers and constantly changing special offers made it difficult for regular customers to predict what their meals would cost, creating decision fatigue and checkout surprises that damaged brand loyalty. Kitchen operations designed for made-to-order preparation couldn't adapt to increased volume demands during peak periods. The grilling techniques that worked well for moderate traffic became bottlenecks when locations experienced typical fast food rushes. Staff members trained on careful preparation methods struggled to maintain quality while meeting speed expectations, resulting in either long waits or compromised food quality. The milkshake program that built the brand's reputation suffered from equipment maintenance issues and inconsistent preparation standards. Hand-dipped shakes require properly functioning machines and trained operators who understand timing and consistency requirements. As locations cut labor costs and deferred maintenance, shake quality declined while preparation times increased, eliminating one of the primary reasons customers chose Steak and Shake over alternatives. Corporate debt loads accumulated during expansion phases became unsustainable as same-store sales declined and franchise fees failed to generate projected revenue. The company struggled to service existing obligations while funding necessary upgrades and operational improvements. Vendor relationships deteriorated as payment delays created supply chain disruptions that further compromised restaurant operations. Number 2. Quiznos. The toasted sandwich revolution that swept through American lunch hours in the early 2000s seemed unstoppable. Quiznos didn't just serve sandwiches, they created an entirely new category of fast, casual dining built around the simple concept that heating sandwiches made them better. The signature toasted subs with melted cheese and warm ingredients offered compelling alternatives to cold deli sandwiches that had dominated the market for decades. But success bred complacency, and Quiznos failed to evolve beyond its initial innovation, while competitors studied, copied, and improved upon the toasted sandwich concept. Subway introduced its own toasting ovens and captured market share with lower prices and more convenient locations. Independent sandwich shops offered superior ingredients and more creative combinations. The competitive advantage that once seemed insurmountable evaporated as the market matured. Franchise relationships became increasingly adversarial as corporate policies prioritized short-term revenue extraction over long-term operator success. Franchisees reported being forced to purchase ingredients and supplies from corporate-approved vendors at prices significantly higher than market alternatives. Equipment requirements and store design mandates created additional financial burdens without corresponding increases in customer traffic or average transaction values. The aggressive expansion strategy that fueled early growth created market oversaturation in many regions. Multiple Quiznos locations competed directly with each other for the same customer base, cannibalizing sales and making it difficult for individual operators to achieve profitability. Corporate leadership continued approving new locations, even in markets where existing restaurants were already struggling. Supply chain costs increased dramatically as the chain's purchasing power declined, along with its store count. Vendors who once offered favorable pricing terms for large volume commitments began treating Quiznos as a secondary account. The premium ingredients that justified higher menu prices became increasingly expensive to source, creating pressure to either raise prices further or compromise on quality. Marketing budgets that once supported national advertising campaigns shrank as franchise fees decreased with declining store numbers. Individual franchisees couldn't afford local marketing efforts that would have been necessary to compete with better-funded competitors. The brand gradually disappeared from consumer consciousness as advertising presence diminished. Store locations that seemed strategic during peak expansion now represent expensive liabilities. Many Quiznos restaurants occupy premium retail spaces with rent structures negotiated when the brand commanded higher traffic volumes. As customer counts declined, these overhead costs became unsustainable, forcing closures that further accelerated the brand's disappearance from key markets. The menu innovations that once excited customers became routine as competitors adopted similar offerings. Signature sandwiches that were unique to Quiznos could now be found at multiple competing chains, often at lower prices with faster service. The differentiation that built the brand gradually eroded until Quiznos offered no compelling advantages over more convenient alternatives. Corporate leadership changes created strategic confusion as different management teams pursued conflicting visions without successfully implementing any coherent recovery plan. Efforts to reinvent the brand through menu changes, store redesigns, and operational modifications consumed resources without generating meaningful improvements in customer traffic or franchisee profitability. Number 1. Red Lobster. For generations of American families, Red Lobster represented something aspirational yet accessible. The nautical-themed restaurants with their distinctive lighthouse logos promised special occasion dining experiences that felt sophisticated without being intimidating. Birthday celebrations, anniversary dinners, and holiday gatherings found their perfect setting among the fishing nets and maritime decorations that transformed ordinary evenings into memorable events. The endless shrimp promotions that became synonymous with Red Lobster's marketing created customer expectations that proved financially devastating. What began as limited-time offers designed to drive traffic during slow periods evolved into permanent fixtures that attracted customers primarily interested in maximizing food consumption rather than enjoying premium dining experiences. The restaurant industry's most successful loss leader became an albatross that drained profitability while training customers to visit only during promotional periods. Corporate ownership changes brought private equity management strategies that prioritized cost reduction over customer experience improvements. Menu simplification efforts removed popular items without adequate replacements, while portion control measures left longtime customers feeling shortchanged. The attention to food quality and presentation that once justified premium pricing gave way to standardized preparation methods that eliminated the care and craftsmanship customers expected. Real estate decisions made during more prosperous periods now represent enormous financial burdens. Red Lobster locations occupy large footprints in prime retail areas with lease obligations negotiated when the brand commanded higher traffic volumes and average check sizes. As customer counts declined and spending per visit decreased, these overhead costs became unsustainable while early lease termination remained financially prohibitive. The seafood supply chain that once provided competitive advantages has become increasingly expensive and unreliable. Fluctuating commodity prices, environmental regulations, and international trade complications have created cost volatility that makes menu pricing strategies difficult to maintain. Customers who once viewed Red Lobster as a reliable source for quality seafood at reasonable prices now encounter frequent price increases and occasional menu substitutions that damage brand credibility. Staffing challenges have particularly affected Red Lobster operations because seafood preparation requires more specialized knowledge and training than typical casual dining menu items. High turnover rates mean many locations operate with inexperienced kitchen staff who lack the skills necessary to properly prepare fish and shellfish dishes. Food safety concerns and inconsistent cooking techniques have created quality control problems that undermine the trust customers place in seafood restaurants. The competitive landscape that once accommodated Red Lobster's unique positioning has fundamentally transformed. Fast casual chains now offer seafood options at lower price points with greater convenience. Upscale restaurants provide superior seafood experiences for customers willing to spend premium dollars. Grocery stores have expanded their prepared seafood sections, allowing customers to enjoy restaurant-quality meals at home for significantly less money. The endless shrimp promotion that became Red Lobster's signature marketing tool ultimately exemplified everything wrong with the chain's strategic direction. Rather than building sustainable customer relationships based on consistent value and quality, the promotion trained consumers to view the restaurant as a place to exploit promotional pricing rather than enjoy regular dining experiences. When customers only visited during discount periods, the economics of restaurant operations became impossible to sustain. Technology investments that other chains used to improve efficiency and customer experience were delayed or inadequately implemented at Red Lobster locations. Mobile ordering systems that could have reduced labor costs and improved order accuracy remained primitive compared to competitors. Table service technology that might have enhanced the dining experience while reducing staffing requirements was never properly deployed. The bankruptcy filing that shocked industry observers was actually the inevitable conclusion of years of financial mismanagement and strategic confusion. Debt obligations accumulated during various ownership changes had created service requirements that exceeded the chain's ability to generate cash flow. Vendor relationships had deteriorated to the point where basic supply continuity was threatened. The infrastructure required to operate hundreds of locations had become a burden rather than an asset. What makes Red Lobster's collapse particularly tragic is how preventable it was. The brand commanded genuine customer loyalty and occupied a unique market position that competitors struggled to replicate. Families genuinely loved celebrating special occasions at Red Lobster, and many customers held positive emotional connections to the brand that extended back decades. These advantages were squandered through poor execution and short-sighted decision-making that prioritized immediate cost savings over long-term brand health. The aftermath of Red Lobster's decline has left entire communities without accessible seafood dining options. For many Americans living away from coastal areas, Red Lobster represented their primary opportunity to enjoy restaurant-prepared seafood in familiar, comfortable environments. And the disappearance of these locations has created genuine losses for customers who valued what the chain once provided. These 5 chains represent more than business failures. They mark the fading of dining traditions that once defined American life. From Dairy Queen's summer nostalgia to Red Lobster's promise of affordable celebration, each brand carried a cultural meaning that went far beyond food. Their collective decline reflects a broader shift in how Americans eat. Convenience now outweighs loyalty, and social media magnifies every misstep while quickly burying goodwill. Rising labor costs, supply chain disruptions, and changing expectations have combined to create conditions that many legacy chains simply can't survive. The qualities that once made them special, slower service, unique atmosphere, generous portions, have become liabilities in a marketplace obsessed with speed and efficiency. The truth is simple. No brand, no matter how beloved, can abandon quality, value, and consistency without losing trust. Once that bond breaks, recovery is nearly impossible. What's disappearing isn't just restaurants, it's a shared cultural experience. The familiar booths, the birthday dinners, the comfort of predictable meals, all are giving way to algorithms and cost-cutting metrics. The American dining landscape is being rewritten, and 2025 may be remembered as the year nostalgia finally gave way to the cold precision of modern consumer expectations. The signs may vanish, but the lesson remains. In an industry built on human connection, efficiency alone can't fill the empty tables left behind.